Hey everyone, welcome back to Teach Me Now. This is your favorite maths teacher, Mandla, coming back with another fire video. So today we're focusing on fractions, grade 9 fractions. Um, Before we even continue, a fraction is made up of a numerator as well as a denominator, right? So, um, if a numerator is at the top and then a denominator is at the bottom, right? So we have our numerator there as well as our denominator, right? So let's say now we have 2 over 3. So meaning our 2 becomes our numerator and then our 3 becomes our denominator, right? Perfect. That's our denominator as well as numerator. So with that information, I believe that we can solve any fraction, right? With that information. Because now we know how to actually differentiate between a numerator as well as a denominator. So let's say maybe for an example, we get a question which says simplify, right? We must simplify. They say simplify. And then for number 1, which is example 1, né? For example 1, let's say maybe they give you probably 2 over 3x plus 1 over 6x minus 2.5, right? Okay, now they give us 2 over 3x plus 1 over 6x minus 2.5. So basically here we are adding or subtracting fraction, right? How do we add and subtract our fractions? The first thing that we do, we apply the LCD method, right? We need to make sure that we find our LCD. But before we find our LCD, when I go back to my sum, I can see that there's a mixed fraction there, right? What is our mixed fraction there? We have 2.5, right? Here's our mixed fraction, right? I believe that we can all see that one. So before we even continue, let's just first convert that mixed fraction quickly. So we have 2 is 2.5, sorry, right? So now how do you simplify that, or how do we convert? We say 2 times 2. And then the answer you got, you add it with that 1. So basically now we say 2 times 2 plus 1 all over, and then you keep your denominator, which is 2. And then we end up getting what? 2 times 2, that's 4, plus 1, that's 5. And then we end up getting 5 over 2, right? Perfect. So for this step, we were only converting that mixed fraction. So we have 1 over 6x minus. Now let me use a different color to show that now I've already converted my fraction, right? Perfect. So now we have 2 over 3x plus 1 over 6x minus 5 over 2. So now on our second step, what is it that we need to do? That's when now we apply the LCD. LCD, that's our lowest common denominator. We need to find the LCD, right? So what is our LCD between 3, 6, and 2, right? So we're looking for a number. When we divide it by 3 or 6 or 2, we get no remainder, right? So that number would be what? 6. But our LCD is always divided by 1, because when we say 6 divided by 3, we get 2. There's no remainder. 6 divided by 6, we get 1. There is no remainder. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. there is no remainder again. So our LCD there becomes what? 6, our lowest common denominator. And then after getting the LCD, you write your LCD there. And then let's start with the first part of the bracket, first part of our fraction to say, yeah? Which is 2 over 3 times x, right? So we have what? 2 over 3x. Now you multiply everything by what? By our LCD. But we need to start with the first part of our fraction. So now, as from the numerator, multiply numerator, denominator, multiply denominator. Now you see the information, it's coming back now. The information of what? Denominator as well as the numerator. So 2 times 6. So 2x times 6x, that's what? 12x. 3 times 1, that's 3, right? But now 12 divided by 3, we get 4. Don't forget, there's x there. So you come back here, and then you write your 4x there. Okay? And then as from there, now we move to the next part of our fraction. Now let's move to the next term of our fraction now. We have 1 over 6x, right? So we have 1 over 6x, right? Multiplied by 6 over 1. So it's not difficult. 6 and 6 will cancel. 1 and 1 as well, right? So we only left with 1. But don't forget that x there. So we have 1x, right? Perfect, 100%. So we have positive 1x, right? 1 can just write positive x, or 1 can just write 1x, right? And then as from there, we're done with this part of the fraction. Now let's move to what? The last part of the fraction, which is negative 5 over 2. So now we need to say negative 5 over 2 multiplied by 6 over 1, right? Again, numerator multiplied by numerator, denominator multiplied by denominator, and then we get 30 over 2, which is equals to 15, right? Then now I need to just plug in my information there. And then as from there now, guys, that's where now it gets interesting. As from there, you now start collecting your like terms. You can see x and x, they go together, right? So we add or subtract, but for this situation, we add, right? So 4 plus 1. Remember, when you add, you only add the coefficients, the numbers in front of our variable, right? So 4 plus 1, that's 5. Perfect. And then remember, we actually dealing with x, so don't forget that x. And then you drop down your minus 15, all divided by 6, right? And then as from there, I think this is my final answer. This is my final answer. But I know a person can come and say, okay, but now why aren't we saying 5 minus 5x minus 15 and end up maybe getting minus 10x? Why aren't we saying that? Now, the reason for that is that if you can check, 5 has x, right? And then 15 is just a constant, right? So if you can check, these two terms are not like terms, so we cannot add or subtract, right? Hence, I'm saying this is our final answer. I hope we all understood that part, right? Now, let's move to the next example. Let's move to the next example. Let's say, for example 2. né? Let's say, for example, 2, they give us something like this. X, I'll try and make it a bit interesting. X plus 1 over 5 minus X minus 3, close bracket, over 2 minus 1. Yeah, now it's kind of interesting now. So before we even continue, do we have any mixed fraction? No mixed fraction. Perfect. Now let's move to the LCD story, our lowest common denominator. What is our LCD here? So we're looking for our LCD here. We are looking for our LCD. What is our LCD here? Our LCD. Okay, before I even give you the answer, now check something. Our LCD is a number, when we divide it by 5 or 2 or even 1, we get no remainder for this problem. Ne? What is that number? Obviously, that's 10, because now 10 divided by 5, it's 2. 10 divided by 2, that's 5. And then 10 divided by 1, that's 10, right? And then after getting our LCD, remember our LCD is always divided by 1. After getting our LCD, we can just draw a line. Let's just draw a line. Then as from there, we divide by 10. We write our LCD there. And then now we start with our procedure. Now the first part of our fraction. Let's focus on that one. So we have x plus 1 over 5 multiplied by our LCD, 10 over 1, right? Numerator goes with numerator and denominator goes with denominator. So now we have x plus 1 times 10. We end up getting 10x plus 1 over 5, because now 5 times 1 is just 5. But now if you can check something, now I want you guys to actually pay attention on this. This is the same as 10 divided by 5. And 10 divided by 5, that's just what? 2, right? That's just 2. And you keep that x plus 1 in our bracket. So now basically now our final answer here becomes what? 2, open bracket, x plus 1, close bracket, minus. So we're done with that part. Now we need to move to the next part of our fraction, which is x minus 3 over 2. We need to multiply again, right? So x minus 3 divided by 2 multiplied by 10 over 1, right? Again, numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator, and then we end up getting 10x minus 3, perfect, divided by 2 times 1, that's just 2. Again, as I've explained, that we need to pay attention on 10 as well as 2. So 10 divided by 2, that's actually 5. And then don't forget that x minus 3 within our bracket. So definitely here we need to write 5 and then x minus 3, right? And then the last one, we just need to say 1 divided by 1 times 10 divided by 1. So 1 times 10 as well as 1 times 1. That gives us minus 10, right? Perfect. And then as from there, guys, I believe that now we are done with the LCD story. Now we just need to remove the brackets. How do you remove the brackets? We use the distribution law, meaning now you multiply everything using whatever that is outside the bracket, or actually whatever that is in front the bracket rather. So 2 times x, we get what? 2x. 2 times 1, we get 2. And then minus 5 times x, we get minus 5x. And then minus 5 times minus 3, we get minus, we get positive, there we get positive 15, right? And then next from there, we drop down that minus 10, perfect, divided by 10. I hope we are still together, right? I hope we are still together. And then as from there, now we're on the step of like terms. Now let's collect our like terms. We have 2x as well as minus 5x. And then we have 2, 15 as well as minus 10. Perfect. Now let's start. 2 minus 5. We get minus what? Minus 3. Remember, we're dealing with x. Don't forget to write that x. Perfect. Now, 2 plus 15. That's 17. Minus 10. That's minus 7. Right? All divided by what? By 10. Perfect. So this is our final answer because we cannot subtract negative 3x with 7, right? Those are not like terms. Perfect. This is your favorite maths teacher, Mangla, signing out.